Heartwarming legacy revealed. Millionaire laughs until shocking truth exposed changes everything. Jack Malone stepped out of his luxury SUV, a suave smile plastered across his face. But the moment he saw the familiar streets of Maplewood, his heart raced with sweet nostalgia. This was the town where he learned the value of hard work from his father, a mechanic who dedicated his life to fix what was broken. Jack took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of nostalgia mixed with cornfields ripening under the summer sun. Laughter danced along with the whispering wind, teasing memories of running barefoot through the park, chasing fireflies and dreaming big. Excitement buzzed as the townsfolk prepared for the annual charity gala in Jack's honor. He could already hear the chatter and the hum of anticipation, but beneath the surface, whispers floated like dark clouds. A family secret lingered on the edge, threatening to eclipse the warmth of Jack's homecoming. As he reconnected with childhood friends, they laughed, reminiscing about days gone by. Yet, amidst the joy, an old rivalry emerged. Sam, a rugged local veteran with a weathered face, couldn't mask the bitterness in his eyes. Sam stood at the corner of the square, arms crossed, like a storm cloud ready to burst. "You think your money makes any of this better?" He stepped forward, voice trembling with a mix of anger and desperation. "Your corporate empire crushed our dreams while you laughed all the way to the bank." The air thickened, a palpable tension thick enough to slice through. Jack felt his smile falter. Those piercing words cut through his carefully crafted self-image, reminding him of the sacrifices others had made while he thrived. "Come on, Sam." Jack's voice, momentarily defensive, trembled with unease. "I worked hard for this." "Hard? Is that what you call it?" Sam sneered. "While you were building your empire, people here were losing their livelihoods." The balloons tied to the gate hovered eerily in the silence that followed. Jack's resolve began to shake, a wave of guilt washing over him. This town, once simple and sweet, showed signs of fracture. The tension simmered. Economic inequality, unspoken resentment bubbled under the surface. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the gala dawned bright, but uncertain. The halls buzzed with people who had once looked up to him, now warped in doubt. As Jack entered, their smiles felt strained, their cheers half-hearted. And as he tried to speak, words turned to ashes in his mouth. "We can rebuild together," he urged, voice taut with sincerity. Yet, doubts loomed. On the fringes, groups whispered, accusations, questions, and skepticism hung heavy like that ever-present cloud. And there was Sam, watching from afar, a legacy of hurt painted across his tough exterior. Guilt knotted tightly in Jack's chest. Could he truly make amends? Hope flickered amid despair, but was it enough? As a haunting melody drifted from the band, Jack caught Sam's gaze. A mix of challenge and hope ignited between them. The crowd held its breath, hanging on the precipice of change, waiting to see if tonight would be the reckoning they all so desperately needed. Would Jack step up to earn his redemption, or would he allow the weight of past decisions to drag him down? Jack's heart thundered in his chest as the band played on, notes piercing the charged atmosphere. He could feel the weight of everyone's eyes on him, searching for something more than empty promises. He had his work cut out for him, and the stakes had never been higher. "Hey, everyone!" he exclaimed, striving to project warmth and enthusiasm. "Thank you for being here tonight. This isn't just my gala. It's a celebration of all of us, our pasts, our battles, and our chance at a better future together." But the murmurs only grew louder. Jack's stomach twisted at Sam's stoic expression, unwavering and full of skepticism. It felt like they were in an old Western standoff, everyone waiting to see who would make the first move. "I know many of you are hurting," Jack continued, his voice cracking. "I see you. I've heard your stories." He paused, glancing around the room. "People lost their jobs, their livelihoods, while He hesitated, swallowing hard. "I was caught up chasing my dreams. But those dreams should include all of you. This is your home, and I'm asking for a chance to make things right." Jack's gaze landed on a woman, her jaw set tight as she held back tears. "And what do we say to those who lost everything because of you?" she shouted, her voice quaking with emotion. The room fell silent. Jack's heart sank. "I know. I can't bring back what's been lost, but I can offer solutions, investments in local businesses, job training programs in the community. We can grow together." "Yes, we can," a voice from the back chimed in, hesitant yet hopeful. It was Danny, his childhood friend, who stood beside Jack when he was just a boy looking for acceptance. Jack's spine straightened. "Thank you, Danny," he said, his voice imbued with newfound strength. "This town taught me the meaning of hard work. Let's not let those lessons fade into bitterness." As whispers continued, Sam stepped forward, taking Jack's brave stance as a challenge. "And why should we trust you, Jack? Because now you want to play hero? Where were you when we needed you most?" The room tensed, as if Sam had just thrown a match onto dry hay. Jack felt the heat rise, the pressure mounting. Sam's pain was palpable, wrapping around them all like a thick fog. Jack opened his mouth to reply, yet the words slipped away. Frustration bubbled within him. "What do you want me to say? That I was wrong? That I didn't see the consequences of my actions? I get that now, but trying to bury my head in the sand. That's not the way to go. I want to be better. Can we at least start there?" The tension hung in the air, thick as the night sky outside. Jack felt raw and exposed, a lighter under the weight of the darkness that loomed around him. Everyone was waiting, eyes locked on him. Each face a different story of struggle and persistence, hope and despair. This wasn't just about Jack anymore. It was about all of them, together. "Let's talk," Jack finally said, his voice steadier now. "About what happened, how your stories can shape a new future. I am here now. I will listen. Let's find common ground." He scanned the crowd, heart thumping wildly. As he spoke, a gentle hope began to blossom within him, a tentative truce that maybe they could all find a way to heal. But just as the mood shifted, a sudden crash echoed through the hall. Eyes darted to the entrance where the doors swung wide open. A figure stepped into view, casting a long shadow that cut through the smiles in the room. Then the crowd gasped collectively, and Jack's heart plummeted. The haunting melody faded as the new arrival began to speak. What they were about to reveal could either solidify Jack's redemption or fracture everything he'd fought for. "Jack Malone," they called, voice slicing through the tension. "We need to talk about your family's secret." His breath caught. The moment of truth had come. Jack felt the world around him spin as he stared at the figure standing at the entrance, silhouetted against the bright lights of the gala. Panic swept through him, and for a moment, he was frozen in place. The tension in the room intensified like a heavy fog that threatened to suffocate. As the figure stepped forward, Jack's stomach twisted. Recognition flicked to life inside him. It was Elena, the family lawyer who'd managed his parents' estate after they passed. Her presence wasn't a coincidence. She was the gatekeeper of every secret that had been buried under layers of grief and denial. "Why are you here?" Jack croaked, his voice shaky. It felt like 1,000 eyes shifted from him to her, scrutinizing every detail of this unexpected intrusion. Elena's expression was unreadable, a mask of professionalism mixed with something deeper, perhaps pity. "We need to discuss the ramifications of your family's legacy," she said, her tone calm but firm. "The town needs to know the truth." Gasps filled the air, punctuating her words like daggers. Jack's heart sank. This was not how he envisioned turning the tide of skepticism. The focus that he had hoped to redirect toward hope and unity was suddenly pulling back to the shadows of his past. "What truth?" Sam demanded, his brow furrowing. "What are you talking about?" Jack stepped toward Elena, desperation clawing at him. "Please, not here, not now. Can't this wait?" Elena shook her head, an unsettling resolve hardening her features. "It's urgent. The people deserve to know what you've inherited, and what it could mean for this community." The weight of her words sank in. He knew his family had left behind more than just memories. There were assets, debts, and maybe more surprises. And these weren't just numbers on a balance sheet. This was the responsibility of a legacy that could either heal or divide. Jack's throat tightened. "The past doesn't define us," he implored, glancing around the crowd seeking solidarity in the gazes of his friends and neighbors. "We're here to make things right. We can't go back." "It's all coming back," Elena interrupted, her voice ringing clear. "Those secrets are tied to this town and to how you move forward. They will shape everything." A ripple of confusion swept through the crowd as people began to murmur among themselves. Jack could only watch as a wave of unease took hold of the room, heartbeats quickening, breaths held tight. He could feel them separating, the divisions drawing a line between past failures and future hopes. "Jack, what's going on?" Danny called from the back, worry etching his features. "Do you know what she's talking about?" Jack ran a hand through his hair, feeling hopeless. I thought I could keep it all behind me. Thought I could make things right without dredging it all up." The words felt heavy, like stones dropping into water, creating ripples of doubt. Elena pressed further, her gaze steady. "You can't heal what's broken without facing the truth behind it, Jack. The choice is whether you confront it together or let it pull you apart." In that moment, Jack saw the faces of those he once called friends, full of question and disbelief. He felt their pain, the shadows of their struggles. It hit him hard, realization crashing down like waves against rocky shores. "I'll do whatever it takes," he finally said, voice steadying under the weight of the truth he knew must come. "But I need your trust. I need your support. Together, we can turn this into something good." The murmurs quieted. He could see the flicker of hope beginning to spark, but the uncertainty was still thick. "Then let's find out what these secrets have to offer," Sam said at last, stepping forward. Together. As Jack stood there, the room still buzzing with raw tension, he realized he was teetering on the brink of something monumental. But the path forward was still obscured. What secrets awaited in the shadows? Would they bind them closer or tear them apart? Time hung heavy in the air, and as Jack cast one last glance at Elena, uncertainty settled deeply within him. The crowd needed answers, but would the answers set them free or shackle them even further? The breath of the future hung on a precipice, ripe with possibilities yet shadowed by the past. Jack felt the air thicken around him, stifling the faint flicker of hope that had sparked just moments ago. The weight of his friends' gazes bore down on him, each pair of eyes reflecting concern, and even more so, confusion. He could sense the pulse of anticipation in the crowd, an uneasy blend of curiosity and trepidation. "Elena, please, is there no other way?" he pleaded, the desperation pooling in his voice. He wanted her to understand, to see that the very thought of digging up the past felt like opening a wound that had barely begun to heal. Elena crossed her arms, her demeanor resolute. "If we don't address this now, it will fester. The truth, Jack, can be the first step toward healing, but you have to be ready for it." "What does that even mean?" Sam interjected, the worry in his voice making Jack even more anxious. Jack wished he had all the answers, but the reality of the complexities waiting just beneath the surface was daunting. The murmurs in the crowd rose again, fingers pointing and whispers bouncing amidst the banquet hall. Jack felt trapped, each breath becoming heavier. He knew too well the dangers of legacy. It could cast heavy shadows or illuminate paths forward. Either way, it was a burden he was now wrestling with. "Elena, just tell us what it is. What do we need to know?" he finally urged, his voice firm despite the quaking in his chest. Elena took a deep breath, her expression softening. "Your parents were involved in various community initiatives. These won't just be financial details, but their ties to the town, and some choices they made that impacted countless lives. You might inherit more than just assets. They left something behind that may change everything your family is known for." Jack cringed, battling the waves of anticipation crashing over him. The word change left a bitter taste in his mouth. People in the audience glanced at each other, casting sidelong glances laced with suspicion. "What do you mean, choices? What are we talking about?" Danny pressed, stepping closer, his brows knitted in concern. "Choices that might have hurt people," Elena said bluntly, the gravity of her words sinking into the atmosphere like lead. "You might inherit not only their wealth, but also their failures. Their mistakes could still haunt the community." The crowd gasped, and the collective tension shifted. Jack felt his heart pounding. He wanted to scream that they were better than the past, that they were capable of change, of redemption. But the specter of doubt loomed large. "I can't believe this is coming out now, not at this gala," whispered a woman to her partner, shaking her head. "Why now, when he's trying to do good?" Jack turned away, the stares weighing him down like stones. He felt a sudden wave of vulnerability rush over him. "What if I am my parents' legacy?" he thought, the doubt sinking deeper like a stone in still water. "What if I carry their shadows?" "Jack, we can navigate this together," Sam assured, stepping up beside him. "We have to confront this. If Elena believes it's urgent, then it is. Ignoring it won't erase the past." Jack released a shaky breath, gratitude mingling with anguish. Behind that support, Jack felt the flicker of a plan igniting within him. They could tackle this if they banded together. Perhaps unveiling the truth could allow them to reclaim a sense of purpose. "Then let's face it," he said, determination hardening in his voice. "I owe it to them, and to this community, to understand the whole story." Elena nodded in approval, sensing the shift, but a twinkle of apprehension lingered in her eyes. "Know this, Jack. When we go in, prepare yourselves, because the truth is often more tangled than anyone can foresee, and not everyone will be ready for it." A chill shot down Jack's spine. He looked around the room, weighing the uncertainty of what lay ahead against the strength of the collective bounded by shared memories and hopes. Would they rise together, bolstered by the truth, or fracture further under the weight of revelations? And could one family's legacy be rewritten in the light of that truth? The moment arrived when Jack realized they were setting forth on a journey into the unknown. The crowd stirred with murmurs, each moment pregnant with potential. As the air crackled with possibility, he knew one thing. Whatever awaited them beneath the surface, this was only the beginning. Jack felt a shift in the atmosphere, charged like the air before a storm. With every heartbeat, he could sense the collective anticipation. It wrapped around him, tight and exhilarating. His friends, each wearing looks that blended determination with apprehension, drew closer, forming a protective circle around him. "What do we do next?" Danny whispered, as he leaned in, eyes wide with curiosity. Sam stood resolutely, a pillar of support, silently urging Jack forward. Elena unfolded her arms, her expression now a mixture of calm and somber. "We need to start by gathering the records your parents left behind. There are files, old documents that might shed light on their involvement with the various projects in town. It's not just about cleaning up their reputation. You'll need to understand the depth of this legacy, for better or worse." Jack felt his stomach churn. It wasn't just about uncovering the truth. It involved confronting ghosts he'd barely acknowledged. "Where do we even begin?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper as he fought to keep the rising panic at bay. "First, we should talk to your uncle," Elena said. "He was closer to your parents than anyone. He might hold pieces of the puzzle we need." "Uncle Roy?" Jack nodded, remembering the man's rugged exterior and gentle wisdom. It felt like a safe place to start, yet he couldn't shake the thought of what might be unveiled. They decided to meet in the town's oldest cafe, a place filled with warmth and the comforting aroma of coffee. As they sat around a wooden table polished by years of community gatherings, Jack's mind drifted. Would Uncle Roy even want to talk about this? Would he remember everything? When Jack spotted his uncle approaching, the world seemed to hush. Roy's face wore the weight of many stories, etched into weathered lines. He settled in, a puzzled look replacing his usual smile. "What's this about?" Uncle Roy inquired, his brow knitting with concern. "Things about Mom and Dad." Jack trailed off, unsure of how to put it together. The weight of past decisions and hidden truths loomed. Elena thinks there are some records that might explain their legacy. Roy's expression hardened slightly, eyes narrowing. "Legacy can be a tricky word, Jack. Are you sure you want to uncover that?" "Maybe it's time," Sam chimed in, looking directly at Uncle Roy. "If there's something buried here, it's better that Jack hears it from you than from the whispers in the street. He deserves the truth." The silence that followed wrapped around them like a blanket, heavy yet full of warmth. Jack felt the dichotomy of loss and hope oscillate within him. His parents had loved him fiercely, yet the world of their choices was a much darker shade. Finally, Roy sighed. "Okay, I'll share what I remember. But know this. Every choice made was born from a place of good intentions, even the ones that went wrong." Jack nodded, emboldened by his friend's support, ready to delve into the past. As Uncle Roy began recounting stories he had long kept safekeeping, the cafe's chatter faded into an echo, replaced by Jack's mounting anticipation. What awaited him in this journey through memory? Would the discovery bind them closer, or break apart the fragile thread still holding them together? With every word from Uncle Roy, Jack felt he was standing on the edge of revelation, his heart pounding with questions that begged an answer. Just how deep did the roots of his family's legacy go? His chest tightened, sensing the cusp of change. As laughter trickled from the neighboring tables, Jack felt both heavy and light. The truth was waiting, just out of reach, ready to change everything he thought he knew. What if the truths unearthed sparked more than just lessons from the past? What if they could reshape the future? As Jack leaned in, he felt it. The tipping point loomed closer, and he had to be ready. What would Uncle Roy reveal next? Uncle Roy took a long breath, his expression shifting as he weighed each word like it was a precious artifact. Jack leaned closer, absorbing the silence like an anxious sponge, while Danny and Sam exchanged worried glances. "Your parents," Roy began, his voice low and shaky. "They dreamed big, Jack. But that ambition, it led them down a path we didn't see, a path that sometimes clashed with the town's heartbeat." Jack's heart raced, the gravity of those words pressing heavily against his chest. "What do you mean?" "Back in the day, your mom and dad worked on a project that was supposed to be transformative. They wanted to clean up the river, make it a place people could enjoy again. But there were sacrifices, threats from people who didn't want change. They wanted things to stay the way they were, and I don't think they prepared for what that could mean." Jack's mind raced with images of his parents, laughter echoing in their old home, their passion as they shared grand visions of a better world. What sacrifices? What threats? Roy's gaze went distant, as if he was staring down a long, dark road. There were loans taken from shady sources, money from people who demanded more than just monetary payback. Your parents thought they could manage it, clear the debt as the project got underway. But then what? Sam pressed, her voice filled with urgency. "They lost the support they needed. Trust placed in the wrong hands. They tried to keep it all secret, but it spiraled out of control. When things got too heated, they made choices to protect you, and that's when their decisions changed. Every word Roy spoke seemed to slice through the fog in Jack's mind, each revelation casting new light on shadows he thought were long settled. So you're saying they were in over their heads, that their good intentions led to... Exactly, Jack. They thought they could handle it, but conflicts erupted. They were trying to do good but didn't realize the depth of the ties they were breaking. Some of those choices led to resentments. Anger. What do you mean by anger? Jack's voice began to tremble. The pieces of his parents' story felt like shattered glass. What if seeking the truth only cut him deeper? They were seen as gentrifiers, outsiders who didn't understand the community's history. Many turned against them. I tried to warn them, tried to help them see the dangers brewing, but they were set on their course. Jack's chest tightened with a storm of emotions. He had always imagined his parents as heroes, but now it seemed they were merely pawns in a larger game, fighting against forces they didn't fully comprehend. How could they think it was worth it? Jack muttered, his feelings of loss mingling with an unexpected anger he couldn't fully articulate. Sometimes love can blind you, Jack. Family means everything to them. They thought if they succeeded, you'd have a brighter future, but in the end, they lost sight of everything else. The cafe felt like a furnace, heat building around Jack as the weight of it all bore down. He could feel every breath, heavy and thick, and his friends were right there beside him, a constant tether to sanity. Do you have the records? Jack's voice was now barely above a whisper. I need to see everything. Roy nodded slowly. I kept a box of their old documents. It's all tucked away in my attic. But Jack, the truth you uncover may not just challenge how you see your parents. It might unravel how you see yourself too. I have to know, Jack replied, determination surging within him. Elena's grip tightened on Jack's shoulder, a silent encouragement. They had ventured this far together. Whatever lied ahead, they would face it united. As Uncle Roy rose to leave, his brow knitted with concern, Jack's eyes locked onto his. Whatever happens, know this. Every family has its burdens, but it's how you carry them that defines you. Jack swallowed hard, the taste of dust, history, and uncertainty mingling in his throat. Could he bear the weight of this family legacy? Would it serve as a guide or a prison? Determined, he gathered himself and stood. Let's go to your house. I'm ready to face whatever's in that box. But as they left the cafe, the shadows whispered doubts. Would the revelations bring clarity, or only more questions? Jack couldn't shake the feeling that with each step toward the past, they were flirting with something much bigger than themselves. What dark secrets waited in the attic, and were they prepared for what the truth might unleash? The air outside the cafe was thick with a tension that felt almost palpable. Jack glanced at his friends as they walked beside him, their expressions a mixture of steadfast support and unspoken dread. He couldn't shake the sense that with every move they made toward Uncle Roy's house, they were leaning closer to a precipice. Each footfall echoed like a drum, the beat drumming out warnings of what might be waiting for him in the attic. As they approached the old house, Jack felt his stomach knot. Memories flooded back. Summer afternoons spent in the backyard, laughter ringing through the air as he chased fireflies with his mom and dad. Back then, everything seemed so perfect. Now, the very foundation of those memories felt like it was cracking apart. Roy fumbled with his keys, and the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit hallway cluttered with years of forgotten relics. Dust motes danced in the light that streamed from the small windows, weaving through the shadows like whispers of long-lost stories. Upstairs, Roy said, gesturing toward the stairwell, his voice carrying a weight that made Jack's heart race. He took a deep breath and started climbing, each step feeling heavier than the last. The attic door loomed before them, aged wood with peeling paint. Jack's hand trembled as he reached for the doorknob. A whisper of doubt slithered into his mind. What if I don't like what I find? He muttered, glancing back at Danny and Sam, whose encouraging smiles softly prodded him forward. "Then you'll know the truth," Danny replied, his voice a steadying presence in the thick air. "And that's better than living in the dark." With a deep breath, Jack turned the knob and pushed the door open. The hinges groaned, and a flood of stale air escaped from the attic, swirling around him like ghosts awakening from slumber. He stepped inside, the space filled with boxes stacked high, each one holding fragments of the past. Jack's eyes settled on a wooden chest in the corner, dust covering its surface like a shroud. He approached it slowly, feeling a strange mix of anticipation and fear. "This is it?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Roy nodded, stepping closer. "Your parents poured everything into this project, and I think they kept records of everything." Jack knelt down and drew back the lid, the creak breaking the heavy silence. Inside were papers, photos, and documents that told a story he had yet to truly grasp. He picked up a faded photograph showing his parents standing by the river, faces bright with conviction. "What were you thinking?" Jack breathed, the picture feeling like a fragile connection to a world he thought he understood. As he sifted through the documents, a name caught his eye, a name he recognized but couldn't place. It was front and center on a contract, bold and threatening. "Roy, do you know who this is?" "Yes, that's who your parents were up against," Roy said, his voice low. The weight of the name hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Jack felt anger bubble within him, confusion swirling around like the dust motes in the sun. What had his parents gotten mixed up in? "I have to find more," he declared, determination igniting in his chest. "We can't just stop here." Elena stepped closer, her hand brushing against his as she nodded. "We're here for you, Jack. Whatever comes next, we'll do it together." The attic felt like a crucible, the walls closing in as he turned back to the chest. There was more to uncover, secrets just waiting to be pulled into the light. What would the documents reveal? Would Jack find his parents shining in their intentions, or shadowed by the choices they made? He took a deep breath, the air crackling with possibility. As they continued to sift through the memories, Jack knew one thing for certain. Uncovering these truths was just the beginning of a new journey, one that might just redefine everything he thought he knew about his family. What further revelations would challenge their bond and redefine Jack's understanding of his parents? With each page turned, the truth felt closer yet more daunting than ever. The scent of old paper filled the attic, mingling with the dust. Jack couldn't shake the nervous energy buzzing in his veins. He spread the documents across an old table cluttered with forgotten toys and faded memories. Each faded word felt like a key, just waiting to unlock a mystery that had been buried for too long. Danny leaned closer, scanning the papers. "Look at this," he said, pointing. "This could be the timeline of what happened. Your parents were seriously up against some big players." Jack felt a knot tighten in his stomach. This was about more than just a project, wasn't it? They were fighting for something. "Yes." Roy's voice was steady, but Jack could feel the undercurrent of tension. They aimed to make a difference, but things didn't go as planned. They almost paid the price for it. Jack took a breath, the weight of Roy's words pressing down on him. He flipped through the documents, more names jumping out, different signatures, all interlaced with secrecy and tension. A partnership that had gone awry. A charity that spiraled into something darker. He couldn't understand why. How had this turned into a battle? Elena noticed the way Jack's fingers trembled over the papers. "What do you see?" she asked gently, stepping beside him to look at the scattered sheets. "Just pieces of a puzzle that don't fit yet," he replied, his brow furrowed. "It's like they were characters in a story I don't fully know. I thought my parents were just doing good work, but maybe there was something more sinister." Jack's heart ached with frustration and confusion. How could they be involved in something dangerous? Danny clapped him on the back. Your parents were brave, Jack. They stood up for what they believed in. This could have put them in way over their heads. Exactly, Roy interjected, his voice growing heavy. I often wondered if it was worth what they sacrificed. Jack's breath caught, realization washing over him. The attic felt smaller, the walls closing in. His parents could have walked away. They didn't have to take on this fight. What if, he murmured, the idea sparking like a firefly in the dark. What if they believed pushing for change was more important than their own safety? They might have thought they were making a difference, Elena added softly, squeezing Jack's hand. But sometimes, justice comes at a cost. He glanced back at the photographs. His parents' smiles shone with purpose and passion. The innocence in those images clashed horribly with the depths of darkness he was beginning to uncover. I have to understand why they kept this from me. From us. Jack's resolve strengthened. There has to be more. I can't let their legacy be buried. I won't let this twist their memory. Roy nodded approvingly. Then we push on. It's only by uncovering the truth that you'll achieve the peace you deserve. As they worked through the papers, a sudden thought struck Jack. What if someone is still trying to bury the truth? What if they'll do whatever it takes to keep their secrets hidden? The air went cold as everyone paused. They all understood the weight of that question. Jack felt a shiver run down his spine, not from fear, but from a stirring sense of urgency. Their investigation couldn't just be for closure. It might be a fight for their lives. We need to be careful, Danny warned, tension rising. People don't just play nice when they're cornered. Jack locked eyes with his friends, a silent pact forming between them. They were in this together, heartbeats quickening with each new discovery. As Jack picked up another document, a sense of dread washed over him. Somewhere out there, answers waited, but so did danger. What would they find next? Would Jack's quest for truth strike a dangerous chord? The thrill of discovery mingled with anxiety, leaving Jack both hopeful and terrified about what lay ahead in this tangled web of his family's legacy. Jack's hands were trembling as he sifted through the remnants of a life he was just beginning to understand. The papers felt heavier now, like bricks weighing down not just his hands but his heart. Were his parents simply altruists caught in a web of malicious intent? He wanted to shout at them for leaving him with this messy legacy, but he also longed to forgive them for their courage. What's this? Danny's voice sliced through the tension. He waved a yellowed envelope in the air, catching Jack's attention. It was unusual, almost hidden beneath stacks of papers that seemed unimportant, but now felt significant. Jack leaned over. The envelope had a seal, a symbol he didn't recognize but felt oddly familiar. Open it, he urged, his voice barely a whisper. Elena brought a flashlight closer as Danny ripped it open, the sound echoing in the stale air of the attic. Inside, a folded piece of paper and a rusty key fell into Danny's palm. What's it say? Jack asked, eyes wide with anticipation. Danny carefully unfolded the note and cleared his throat. It's dated a few months before they disappeared. He started reading aloud. If you're reading this, it means we've failed to keep the truth secure. Find the key. Look where the light meets the shadow. The silence was deafening. Jack's mind reeled. The light meets the shadow? What could that mean? The attic? Elena suggested, glancing up at the small window at the far end, where light barely poured in, battling the dusty darkness. Or the basement? Roy chimed in, his brow knitted with concern. If there's danger, they might have hidden something down there. It could be where they were trying to protect us from the truth. There was a shift in the air. A thread of excitement mixed with impending dread tugged at Jack. We have to go down there, he insisted, his heart pounding. Maybe we should wait, Elena said, her voice trembling slightly. What if this is a trap? Jack looked at her, his expression serious. They wouldn't have left this for us if it weren't important. They believed in something. With hesitant nods, the group moved toward the attic stairs, the decision sealed silently between them. As they climbed down, the atmosphere felt charged, the air thick with both fear and possibility. Reaching the basement door, Jack paused, the key clutched tight in his palm. It felt warm, almost alive. Was it really a key to answers, or something more sinister? Finally, he turned the lock. The door creaked open, revealing rows of shelves lined with shadows, dust swirling like secrets. A single light bulb flickered overhead, casting eerie patterns on the floor. "What are we even looking for?" Danny asked, fear creeping into his voice as he stepped inside. "I don't know," Jack admitted, his breath catching. "But we'll know when we see it." As they stepped further into the darkness, Jack's heart raced. Every creak of the floorboards felt like a warning. He could feel the weight of his parents' choices pressing down on him, the need to uncover the hidden pieces growing stronger. Suddenly Elena gasped, her finger pointing toward the back wall. "There!" Something glinted in the dim light. Jack's heart dropped. What if this was the answer? Or worse, another trap? He took a step closer, each heartbeat echoing in his ears. Would it reveal the truth? Or would it shatter everything he thought he knew? What lay ahead in this hidden world of shadows? To confront the unknown, Jack had to muster every ounce of courage he had left. Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself as he approached the glinting object. The shadows twisted and curled around him, the basement feeling more like a tomb than a treasure trove. He reached out, fingers brushing against the cool metal surface. It was a small box, intricately designed, the etchings on the surface capturing the light in a way that made the craftsmanship stand out against the dusty wall. With a trembling hand, he lifted it. A jolt of electricity coursed through him, both thrilling and terrifying. "Open it," Danny urged, excitement crackling in the air like static. Jack nodded, his heart pounding in rhythm with the unspoken fear of what lay within. Carefully, he traced the edges of the box, searching for a clasp or a latch. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he found a small, ottoman-like depression on one side and pressed it. The box clicked open, and the lid creaked ajar. Inside were journals, worn leather-bound and filled with familiar handwriting. Jack's breath hitched. "These are my parents' journals." He held them up, and his heart raced with the maddening mix of fear and excitement. Roy leaned in closer, eyes wide with recognition. "Jack, you have to read this." Jack opened the nearest journal and saw pages filled with their thoughts, hopes, dreams, and their struggles. "It's like they left a guide," he whispered, paging through the meticulous entries, some heavy with frustration, others bright with idealism. And then he found it, an entry that made his heart stop. "We know there are those who oppose us, but we will not let that stop our work to unite this town. Some will try to sabotage us, but our project is rooted in love and hope, and our family will oppose any darkness that seeks to tear apart this community." Tears blurred Jack's vision. "They truly believed change was worth the fight," he murmured, wiping his eyes, "even when it came at a cost." "Jack, there's more," Elena said, her voice steadying him. "Each entry seems to unveil something they wanted you to understand. They aimed to use their legacy to help everyone, even if it cost them personally." But as Jack flipped through the pages, he felt a growing weight in his chest. Questions churned in his mind. What if they failed? What if their choices hurt people? What does that mean for their legacy? For me? And then there it was, a final entry, hastily scrawled. "If this goes wrong, if we can't break through the shadows of doubt and mistrust, then we'll leave everything we can behind. The truth must come to light one day, but I hope it doesn't destroy what we love. For Jack, we believe in you." "Your parents loved you, Jack," Sam said softly, putting a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "They want you to have the truth, but it's up to you how you use it." The room felt heavy with the weight of the revelations, yet a flicker of hope began to spark within Jack. This could be the turning point, he realized. If I can show them that our family's passion was never meant to hurt, we can all come together. "Absolutely," Elena said, her eyes gleaming with pride. "And you don't have to do it alone. We're in this together." Jack nodded slowly, feeling a wave of determination wash over him. He could feel the strength of his friends and the memory of his parents urging him onward. "What now?" Danny asked, glancing around the basement. "We face this together," Jack said, his voice rising like a calling. "We share these journals with the town. We tell them who my parents really were and what they stood for. It's a tale of ambition, of love, of dignity, and I know deep down this history can heal wounds, if given the chance." Roy placed a hand on Jack's back, almost as a fatherly gesture. "You're ready for this, Jack. Your parents would be proud." A swell of emotions filled Jack's chest, a mix of fear and empowerment dancing inside. They had found the truth, but it was still a tightly wound pursuit to unveil what lay ahead. As they climbed the stairs together, each step felt lighter than the last. Jack could almost hear his parents' laughter dancing in his thoughts, a melody of hope washing over him. "I won't shy away from the past," he vowed, determination etched on his face. "It might be a turbulent road, but it's necessary. For the community. For my family. For me." As they emerged into sunlight that streamed through the attic window, Jack could feel the transformational shift, no longer haunted by his parents' shadows, but inspired by their courage to fight for what they believed in. The road ahead would not be easy, but with resolve shimmering in his heart and friends standing by his side, he felt ready for the battle ahead. "We need to tell everyone. Starting now," he declared, pulling out his phone. His voice rang with fervor, filled with urgency. They were all about to embark on a journey that would redefine their lives, a chance to heal and transform the legacy his family had left behind. As he hit send on a message to gather everyone in the park that evening, excitement surged within him. Would the people respond? Would they step into the light alongside him to face this truth? With hope flickering like the morning sun, Jack knew this was just the beginning, a chance to unite and build something beautiful from the ashes of the past. It was time to reclaim their story, time to change everything. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss our next tale of transformation and healing. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let the world see the power of truth. Comment below with your thoughts about Jack's journey and what you believe the ending means for his legacy. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who could find inspiration in Jack's fight for redemption. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.